Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one. Welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, where today's video is featuring two battles, much like yesterday's World of Tanks video. Occasionally you just have those games where nothing happens for a large period of time and you think it's going to be a fairly dull overall result, and then suddenly things get interesting very, very quickly. And that can be a bit of a problem when it comes to editing a video together for YouTube, because you definitely want to watch the exciting bits, but you're not necessarily going to want to have to sit through all the boring bits to get to the exciting bits. And also sometimes the battle is just over so fast that you really need some other material to put into the video in order to have a video that isn't just 8 minutes long. Which is exactly why yesterday's World of Tanks video featured two battles instead of one, plus the World of Tanks battle does tend to be over way faster than a World of Warships battle. But it's also the reason why we're watching two battles today as well. Starting off with the Bombs 60 here in this Tier 10, although there are some very unfortunate Tier 8s in this Tier 10 arms race battle here on the Warriors Path map. The Bomb is in the Shikishima. And the Shikishima is basically what would happen if you took the Yamato, armed with its legendary 18.1-inch guns, the biggest guns ever to be installed on a warship, and thought to yourself, what if they were bigger? And armed it with 20-inch or 510mm guns instead. Yeah. Doesn't get as many of them. I mean, the Yamato has 9 guns, the Shikishima only has 6. And I usually, yes, Genizer, now I'm looking at you, have a problem with warships that are only armed with 6 guns. Because unless those guns are really accurate and pretty good at putting warheads on foreheads, they can be really frustrating to play. Particularly on a battleship, with a battleship's long reload. In that respect, the Shikishima's not that bad, because these guns are very accurate, and it only has, despite the monstrous caliber of the guns, it only has a 27-second reload. 3 seconds faster than the standard 30-second reload that most battleships have. In fact, it's even more impressive when you look at something like the USS Vermont, one of the American Tier 10 battleships, which, while it does have 18-inch guns, they're not 18.1-inch guns like the Yamato. They're definitely not 20-inch guns like here on the Shikishima. And while it does have 12 of them, they have a cripplingly slow 40-second reload. So the Shikishima is actually not bad. Huge guns, lots and lots of armor-piercing overmatch, a decent reload, and they are pretty accurate. So the combination of very big, reasonably fast reloading and accurate shells with huge alpha damage and a more than 26-kilometer range means that you should be playing the Shikishima in the same way that you should be playing the Yamato, providing circumstances allow it. Maximising all of those advantages by keeping the enemy at maximum range and punishing them with devastating long-range and very accurate armour-piercing salvos. One other thing that the Shikishima shares with the Yamato, and it's not a good thing, is the armour layout. Not quite as bad as the Yamato though, because the Shikishima does at least have 57mm, and that's pretty good, of deck plating, but it has the same 32mm bow and stern armour. And that means that this thing can be citadeled from the front by anything that overmatches 32mm of plating. Other Shikishimas, Yamatos, anything that has larger than 18-inch guns, basically. And there's more than a few of those around in World of Warships these days. But the Shikishima's biggest problem, and also a feature that it shares with the Yamato, and why you should never, ever, under any circumstances, if you can possibly avoid it, get yourself into a brawl in one of these things with another battleship, is because of the cheek armour vulnerability. You see how the bomb is angling the ship here? This is the classic way of ensuring that any shots that hit you hit the belt armour and have a good chance of ricocheting. But what it's doing in this ship, and the Yamato, is exposing the, from this angle, flat cheek armour along the armour belt to the side of the front turrets. Because when you angle this ship against battleship armour-piercing shells like that basically presents a flat cheek, and on the other side of that cheek is the forward citadel. And this ship and the Yamato can be one-shotted from the front if enough shells strike that vulnerability. It's the #1 cause of Yamato players accusing other people of hacking because they just don't understand their own ship's armor layout. But it's the #1 reason why you should never try to get yourself into this situation in either the Yamato or the Shikishima. There are other reasons, and honestly, I think the bomb got quite unlucky here when shooting at that St. Vincent. Then again, he also got kind of lucky when getting shot at by the St. Vincent because he's still alive. And you'll note, watch these incoming shots, look at where they're aimed. Yep, that's it. They're aiming right for that cheek vulnerability. The bomb is not in a fantastic situation. The St. Vincent is still alive and is shooting at him from the rear. He's got a Petro shooting at him from the front. Oh, and a Ragnar's just joined the party. The Petro is still shooting for that vulnerable cheek armor weak spot without any success this far, although he has managed to knock out one of the gun turrets. That'll be back up soon. There's a double fire. The Shikishima does have a large health pool though, and he's going to need every bit of it, plus 55% torpedo damage reduction, which he's not actually going to need because he's had the massive good luck to run into the one destroyer on the enemy team that doesn't actually have torpedoes, the Ragnar. He's focusing the secondaries on the Ragnar. He's hoping to catch this Petro before it can complete the drive-by and take advantage of his terrible turret rotation. Bad news, Petro. Not quite. Oh, the secondaries have taken out the Ragnar. The Petro's on fire. Can the secondaries do the same? He's got 10 seconds to do it and get the double strike. Yes, there it is. And he's clear. I mean, it cost him all of his health. He absolutely should never have put himself into that kind of situation. Because one of the other reasons, of course, why the Shikishima is such a terrible brawler, despite what you've just seen, is the glacially slow rotation speed on the turrets. It takes these things nearly a minute to rotate 180 degrees. You can literally turn this ship around faster than you can turn the turrets around. And now the Riga's spotted him and wants to take advantage of his low health. And he only has one turret to... I did mention, right, that these are fairly accurate guns. The Riga's given him a flat broadside. I can confidently predict that those rear turrets will be ready to fire long before he gets the front turrets swung around. Only 2 more shots out. And another Citadel. You see, this is actually what the Shikishima's good at. He's probably going to get a 3rd salvo away with the rear turret before the front turrets are ready to shoot. Even turning the ship to assist their rotation. Yep, there it goes. Front turrets are almost ready to go, finally. There they go. And isn't it typical that when he only had 2 guns to fire with, he scored Citadels, but the second everything's on target, he suddenly starts missing? Well, he's not given up. He's going to keep shooting, but somebody else is going to finish the Riga off. And that is basically it, because there are not an awful lot of enemy ships left to shoot at. And most of them are right on the other end of the map, although still within shooting range. But that is effectively the end of this part of today's video. The Bomb 60 in the Shikishima. How the hell he is still alive, I have no idea. But he is, and he's also done 235,000 damage before this battle is even 10 minutes old. We're going to leave him here, however, and move on to our second entry in today's audio-visual extravaganza, which is more or less the exact opposite of what you've just seen here, where all of the action takes place at the end of the battle rather than in the first 5 to 10 minutes. And I really do mean all of the action, because this, I love his name by the way, in this tier 10 clan battle here on the Shards map, is I came on your broadside in the Italian tier 10 heavy cruiser, the Napoli. And there's a member of his team that we've seen before, very recently. One of the darings on the team is captained by the Shadow Government. Is that name ringing any bells? There he is, just sailing into view on the left of the screen now. He was the star of the Know Your Enemy video from the other week. Yes, the submarine video, you probably remember it. Well, he's back. Although we're not going to be seeing much of what he's getting into in this battle. This is all about I came on your broadside here in the Napoli. Well, actually it isn't. At least not for the first half of this battle. It's going to be all about the rest of his team, but since we're watching from his perspective, we don't get to see any of that, and we're going to have to skip ahead to when he actually finally starts doing something. Because he really does... Well, it's not that he doesn't do anything. He does flip the cap circle at Alpha, but that's about it. So, you ready? We're going to skip ahead nearly 10 full minutes. So, here we go. It's not looking good, is it? The enemy team are 400 points ahead with 2 of the cap circles. And it's not really that I came on your broadside hasn't been doing anything. I mean, it's a clan battle. The team has a plan. He's been sticking to the plan. He's flipped the cap circle at Alpha. But he's only done 5,445 damage in the process, as the team are really starting to struggle here, because I don't know what the plan was on the other end of the map, but whatever it was, it hasn't worked. The shadow government just died. The enemy team are now 500 points ahead, and if somebody doesn't do something soon, hopefully it won't involve getting... To be fair, he knew those torpedoes were coming. The Napoli doesn't have hydro, but he knows there's a torpedo threat. There's a Summers and a Brisbane up ahead. The Moskva, who's with him, has just radared the Brisbane, and should also... Yep, there's the Summers. There goes the high-speed smoke. The Brisbane's blind firing, and desperately... Oh, you don't want to be doing that. You see, the Napoli's a battle cruiser. It has 254mm guns, and the Brisbane's a great ship, but it is just a light cruiser. Of course, firing guns of those caliber, whether you're inside a smokescreen or not, does mean that you are going to get spotted, but he needs to do something because the enemy team are up to 980, oh, and they're back down to 923 points as he double citadels and finishes off the Brisbane. That was really close. The enemy team were literally about to win. And they're still about to win because they still have 2 cap circles. Enemy team are back up to 953 points. There's a Moskva over there on very low health. 958 points. No, and somebody kills the Moskva. Second Moskva, on fire. Switches to the semi-armor piercing because it's a Moskva and it's angled. Wait, you said... Oh, yeah, that's right. It's the Napoli. It's a premium, isn't it? It doesn't get semi-armor piercing. It gets high explosive instead. Which is really bad news for that Moskva. Oh, and there's a Louisiana closing in. That's not good. Oh, yes, the Louisiana. We'll talk about that in a moment, but for now they really need to kill that Moskva because the enemy team are back up to 950 points. Although they are contesting the cap at Charlie, preventing the enemy team from getting any further points from that. And if they can nail that Moskva and start flipping, and they are contesting the cap at Bravo, so the enemy team have no further points coming in. They're stuck at 956. The Moskva's gone down. They're back down to less than 900 points. And then, yeah, they didn't take care of the Summers, and the Summers is about to, yes, has in fact taken care of him. So, I came on your broadside has gone down, but he, despite only doing 76,000 damage and scoring 1 kill, he did what needed to be done, and when it needed doing. And he might actually get a torpedo hit on that Louisiana as well. Actually, yeah, let's talk about the Louisiana. I was going to do it earlier, but we kind of got overtaken by events. You see, in clan battles in World of Warships, there are general restrictions that are placed on the clans regarding what ships they're allowed to take into battle. So you can't just go in with a full team of battleships. You are, in fact, limited to no more than 1 battleship per team. You're also not allowed to pick any super ships for what should be obvious reasons, and you're not allowed to take submarines. Oh, we need to get a torpedo hit. Nice, on the Louisiana. There is one other thing that you're not supposed to be able to take into a clan battle. You're not supposed to be able to take aircraft carriers. And in case you were wondering where those dive bombers were coming from, the Louisiana, as well as being the enemy team's 1 battleship, is also the enemy team's 1 aircraft carrier. Something that you're not supposed to be able to bring into a clan battle. But it's a hybrid, isn't it? Yes, Wargaming figured out a way to allow you to sneak their favourite class of ships into a battle mode that's not supposed to have their favourite class of ships, because they placed no restrictions on hybrids. Wow. Who saw that one coming? Well, clearly the enemy clan in this battle did. I mean, they could still win. Let's not forget the Louisiana, as well as being a carrier, is also a battleship. It's a funny old thing, but if you look at the American tech tree, officially they only have 11 aircraft carriers. which if you ask me, and I'm certainly not alone in this opinion, is about 11 too many. But if you look at all of the hybrids, the Delaware, the Nebraska, 2 different versions of the Kearsarge, and of course, the Louisiana, it means that there are as many aircraft carriers in the US Navy tech tree alone as there are destroyers in the Royal Navy tech tree. Just let that one sink in for a while. And of course, because there are no restrictions on hybrids, you can sneak these aircraft carriers into battle modes that are specifically not supposed to have them in. I do have to say this Louisiana is playing extremely well though. I mean, his back's right up against the wall. He might be able to carry it. He's not just a carrier after all, he's the team's only battleship. He is armed with 16-inch guns. And the Summers is still lurking around somewhere, who is going to be a massive threat to the Moskva. The thing is though, the initiative now lies firmly with the enemy team. They no longer have any of the cap circles, so they need to get kills to win, and the Nevsky is fully aware of this. He's not interested in getting shot at by the Louisiana's 16-inch armor piercing. He's ducking in behind the island, where he's going to stay for the rest of this battle, which means the Louisiana will have to try to kill him with dive bombers. The Moskva just popped his radar, allowing him to confirm that his safe position behind the island over there is going to protect him from the Summers torpedoes. All the team have to do is wait, and they don't have to wait very long because they're already up to, there it is, 1,000 points. They did not attempt to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. They left that up to the enemy team, which they successfully managed to do 3 times. So well done to all involved. Commiserations to the Louisiana, you sneaky bastard, sneaking a carrier into a clan battle. His position on the team was no indication of how well he did, by the way. The losing team in a clan battle all get 250 experience each. That one, if there had been anything happening in the first 10 minutes of that battle, would have made an excellent episode of A Game of Throws. But certainly from my Came On Your Broadsides perspective, absolutely nothing other than 1 cap happened in the first 10 minutes. So instead, you get to enjoy it as part of today's double feature. And I hope you did enjoy it, because that's it for today. Join me tomorrow, or not, for more Aliens Dark Descent, where I head on board the USCSS Montero in Barclays Docks, and I really don't enjoy it very much. But that's it for today in World of Warships. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.